What's up YouTube, JD Horror here. Just a quick little story for you today, and I'd like to thank Irish Demon for doing some of the voice acting for me. If you don't know who that is, go check out his channel. He does a lot of court cam videos, sovereign citizen videos. He's absolutely hilarious. I join pretty much every live stream I can. I love you, buddy. It really means a lot to me, and I'll see you in the next live stream. Anyways, sit back, turn off the lights, and embrace the creepy. I never thought my honeymoon in Ireland would end up as a horror story, but that's exactly what it was. It was a horror story. My wife Amanda and I got married a few years ago. Our families came from all over Canada to watch us tie the knot. It was an absolutely amazing day. Her parents paid for our honeymoon, and initially they had us set up in a suite overlooking the River Liffey in Dublin. I wish we had just said thank you and taken the trip they had already booked, but we both wanted something more quiet, a nice peaceful vacation far away from the hustle and bustle of any major city. Her parents were happy to refund it and let us pick wherever we wanted to go, so we jumped on Airbnb and chose a small farmhouse in the countryside complete with the ruins of a 200-year-old castle. We both loved old stuff like that, so it was a major selling point for that particular property. The place looked perfect. It was exactly what we were hoping for. As soon as we arrived at the gate, we were greeted by the owner, who introduced himself as John. He was a jolly old Irishman, probably mid-60s if I had to guess, with kind, wrinkly eyes and a thick gray and white beard framing a big, welcoming smile. He seemed like a jovial old man, very laid back, easy to talk to, and actually pretty easy to understand. We felt at home as he showed us around the farm, and we were impressed by how beautiful and serene the place was. That is, until we started making our way to the modest little farmhouse. Then I got an eerie feeling as I looked up and saw a little old woman standing in the window on the second floor, just staring out at us with a blank expression on her face. John saw me notice her and said,
"That's Irish Mammy. You don't have to worry about her. Keeps to herself mostly. That being said, she gets a wooden spoon in her hand and you run like hell, yeah? Not much of a runner, Mammy, but got a good strong whipping wrist on her."
John had a serious look on his face when he said this, but it slowly faded into a smile, followed by a hearty chuckle. Amanda and I awkwardly laughed it off, trying to be polite. We were given a tour of the quaint little home, shown to our room, and John left us to unpack and get settled, letting us know that dinner would be served at 6. That evening, while we were all having dinner by the fireplace, our host told us stories about the local folklore and how the countryside was home to ancient spirits and an Irish demon. Years ago, after the castle was used by generations of the family who built it, it was left to decay. That's when a cult of Satan worshippers started using the estate for ritual sacrifices. People would seemingly vanish into thin air without a trace of existence. We honestly didn't take his tales seriously. Both of us being atheists, we didn't buy into religious nonsense like that. The whole time John talked, Mammy sat quietly in the corner with that same blank stare we'd seen from the window, but now it was more wary. It was as if she was trying to warn us about something, but she was forbidden to. That night, we settled in early to try to shake off the jet lag, but things took a dark turn. Lying in bed, Amanda fell asleep immediately, but me, I tossed and turned. I couldn't seem to shake the feeling that something wasn't right. At around 3 a.m., I sensed a presence in the room. I opened my eyes to see a shadow lurking in the corner, and there seemed to be a faint chanting coming from somewhere on the property. I shook Amanda awake, and we both stared at the ominous figure. As we watched, it started moving towards us. I frantically reached for the light, turning it on to reveal the pale face of Mammy. My new bride screamed in terror as we heard the old woman speak for the first and only time. She said one word, and the memory of it will haunt me for the rest of my life. "Run!" We jumped out of bed, darted around her, and ran from the room, just as the owner was rushing down the hall, pushing past us into the bedroom, and the house went dead silent. After what felt like an eternity, John appeared in the doorway with one hand wrapped around Mammy's shoulder, guiding her out. In his other hand, a wooden spoon. He cocked his head and, in a very ominous tone, he said,
I did warn you about Mammy and her spoons. I'll see to it this doesn't happen again. You two go on and get some rest. Busy day tomorrow.
Amanda and I debated on calling a cab right then and getting the hell off that farm. We talked ourselves down and decided just to brave through the night and make our exit the next day. When morning came, it brought with it a dark fog rolling over the hills. And to make things worse, Amanda was like totally out of it and extremely pale. I told John that we had to leave. I tried to make up some family emergency. He cut me off and explained,
Until this fog clears, you're not going anywhere, I'm afraid. The road up this way is next to impossible when you can't see 3 inches from your face.
The day only got stranger. The once friendly old man took on an evil essence. As the day grew to night, my wife just got worse and worse, in and out of sleep, burning up. I left the room to find John to get her some help, but he was nowhere to be seen. That's when I heard the same chanting from the prior night, but it was loud. It was coming from the second floor. I rushed back to our room and found it locked, so I began kicking it until it broke free from its hinges. There, dressed in a black and red robe, was John, now looking completely different. His gray beard now jet black, the wrinkles on his face were non-existent. He was young. It looked like he wasn't any more than 30 years old. He turned to face me as he finished his incantation with a smile on his face. And what I saw next was horrifying. I can only explain it as it was like my wife melted or imploded even into a fountain of blood, and then she was gone. It was all gone. It was as if she had been sucked into another dimension, and that's when my vision went black. I was found by a truck driver the next day walking down a dusty country road and was brought to the hospital. I tried to explain what happened to the authorities, but they didn't believe me. They told me that there was no Airbnb in that area. In fact, the farm I claimed we were on had been abandoned for over 100 years. They explained that I had been in an accident and was just experiencing trauma. They told me I had come to Ireland alone and there was no record of my wife ever being on a plane with me. I called everyone I knew, but no one remembered her. Her parents had no idea who I was or what I was talking about. They said that they never even had a daughter. It was like she was just a figment of my imagination. It wasn't until years later that I learned the truth. The owner was an Irish demon who preyed on unsuspecting young tourists looking for a quiet getaway. He steals the life they have left to keep for himself, so he can live forever. He sacrificed my wife and used dark magic to erase any evidence of her existence. It's a horror story I'll never forget and no one will ever remember. So this serves as a warning to anyone venturing to the Irish countryside. Beware of the folklore, because it's all way too fucking real. JD again. If you like that story, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future stories. I got a lot in the works right now and I post horror shorts daily, so stop by my channel, check it out, and don't forget to stop by the Irish Demons channel. The guy's absolutely hilarious. Anyways, thanks again, Demon. I really appreciate the help on this one, man. Love you guys. Ciao for now.